Let's talk about the secret to unintended consequences. Everybody thinks about the thing that they're trying to solve, and they come up with an idea of how to solve it, but they seldom think about what happens afterwards as a result of the solution. So I'll start with a simple story, and it's too bad Mr. Bardwaj isn't here to tell us whether this is a true story or not. But the British at one time controlled India. Did you guys know that? Okay, so the British are in India, and they've got a lot of people, both British and Indian people, getting killed by cobras. And so they come up with, they get together and they say, well, how are we going to take care of this cobra problem? And they said, what we'll do is we'll offer these Indians a bounty for every dead cobra they bring in. And so they start off, and these Indians are bringing in a lot of dead cobras. But the British notice that the actual number of cobra bite incidents is actually going up, and the number of cobras that are spotted is actually going up. Do you know why? Mr. Buat?
Breeding the cobras.
Yeah, they were breeding the damn cobras. Why? Because the British were paying them to do that. Now, let's put this in a perspective for public policy for the United States. Back in the mid-1960s, we had a situation where they finally figured out that there were American children living in poverty. And so how do we fix the problem? Well, we give money to the parents of the children living in poverty. What do you think happened? Oh, let me tell you one of the policies. The more children you have, the more money you get. What do you think started to happen?
The people in poverty had more children.
Yeah! And now, what happens to the percentage of children that we've got living in poverty? Right? Unintended consequences. So whenever you're thinking of a problem, whether it's in business or in politics or whatever else, I want you to think, okay, well, here's how we can fix that problem. And ask yourself this question every time. And then what? What comes after? And if you could take a few minutes and think about that, you'll probably come up with some way things are going to go terribly wrong. Another example, during COVID, they did this paycheck protection scheme. You guys remember that? It was this where they're going to send money to businesses to make sure that they can keep paying their people so they don't lay them off. I can think of at least 2 businesses that took those loans. Both were online, basically only businesses. Was their business model really being threatened? No. And to this day, one of them I know is still sitting on that money because she thinks that eventually the government will figure that out and come after her for, it was $972,000 that she got. She's just freaking sitting on it. Unintended consequences, watch out for them. Okay, let's get to talking about our presentations. So hopefully you guys have started looking at what the presentation stuff is, and it's on Brightspace. We're going to roll down here to Unit 0 Business Strategy Game. And then we've got, first of all, our presentation instructions. Have you read the presentation instructions? If you have not, you probably should. So the presentation should be 15 to 20 minutes, followed by 5 to 10 minutes of questions. I'm going to bring my iPad with a timer on it, and I'll sit up there, and you guys will be able to see how much time is left. Now, am I going to smack you around really hard if it's less than 15 minutes or more than 20 minutes? No. But you shouldn't come in here with 35 minutes worth of stuff. And you also shouldn't come in here with 5 minutes worth of stuff. Followed by 5 to 10 minutes of questions and answers. I will always start with having the students ask their questions first. And then I will ask my questions. And then we will go over any kind of issues with your slides. When you are putting together your slides, you're going to be talking about other teams. I want you to or the other team, actually, there's only one, right? I want you to maintain the same color throughout. If Team A is blue and Team B is red on your first slide, that's the way it should be through the whole presentation. Because if you keep switching back and forth, it freaks people out. Let's see. So your presentation is going to be based on your professional appearance. What's a finance appropriate interview suit? Mr. Barentine, what did you wear to your last interview?
Just a full blue suit with the
So
tie.
a blue suit with a tie and a shirt with a collar, and what did your shoes look like?
They were just leather dress shoes that were clean and polished.
There you go. If you show up looking like that, you'll be fine. Let's see, the appearance of your slides. People have so much trouble making a good PowerPoint slide. And the student tendency when making PowerPoint presentations is to try to put all the information on the slide. Is that what your slides should look like? No. If you think back to what my slides look like, first of all, they're very simple, black and white, right? There's nothing fancy about them. Why is that? When I was training in the Halliburton rotational management program, our leadership all came from General Electric. And they had all presented to Jack Welch, one of the most famous CEOs in history. And he would always complain if people had too much fancy color and stuff on their slides. He said, you're wasting your time making your slides pretty. He says, you're not adding anything to the presentation, but now I know you could have gotten something else done if you hadn't mucked around with that. So that's why my slides are just simple black and white. Also, my slides are just an outline. They're just an outline. The true information comes from inside your head. And nobody knows this stuff better than you because after all, you lived it, right? So you should be able to talk about these things. The lowest font point that I want to see on a slide is 18. And I really would prefer you stay away from that. You want your fonts on your slides to be big. Here's something else you need to keep in mind. Most of the people you'll be presenting to, especially when you get to the top levels of the organization, will be older. What does that mean for their eyesight? It's not as good. Do you want to be the person that frustrates the hell out of the 63-year-old CEO because he can't read? Oh, for shame, he's late. Come on in. You don't want to be the guy that frustrates the 63-year-old CEO with your small font size. Let's see. We're not going to have pitch vantage because I'm doing it here in class. I'll show you what those are what that's going to look like. So your presentation should cover. It says the two teams you view as your closest competition. Folks, there's only one, right? So you just talk about the other team also. You need to make sure you talk about your capital structure. I told you from the very beginning that you needed to keep an eye on your capital structure throughout. You need to talk about your capital budgeting. How did you decide whether to buy new machines, new plants, that sort of thing. Talk about your payout policy. Did you continue to raise dividends as instructed, or did you cut dividends and piss off your investors? Did you do any share repurchases? How did you handle your working capital management? This part will also include whether or not you got any of those overdraft loans, because that is a big sign that you didn't do a good job managing your working capital management. The impact of the goal of financial management on your decisions throughout the simulation. I will even interrupt you during your presentation because you'll be saying, because we really wanted to beat the other team in market share for Europe, Africa. And I will stop you and I will say, what's the goal of financial management? And you'll say, maximize shareholder wealth. And I'll say, did maximizing the shareholder in Europe, Africa, or maximizing your market share in Europe, Africa actually do that? And so you got to keep that in mind as you talk about these things. And you need to talk about your EPS, your ROE, your stock price, and 3 other financial ratios of your choosing that you thought were important for this simulation. If you've forgotten what financial ratios are, you can look at chapter 3 of your online textbook. Then I want you to finish up with 2 thoughts. Number 1, what did you learn? And number 2, what would you do differently if you were to do the simulation again? So that's basically what I want you to do with your presentation. Any questions? Okay. Now, here's your presentation slide rubric. I'll be grading your slides. I'm looking for slide-to-slide consistency. By the way, you've probably got 3 or 4 people on your team. The worst way to make a presentation is to have, well, I'm going to take this part, you're going to do this part, you're going to do this part, and then we'll just throw it all together at the last minute. Because here's what happens. The first one chooses a different style than the second, then the third, then the fourth. If you're going to try to do this sub-module kind of idea, you need to go through and have someone at the end make sure that the whole presentation is consistent. It should look like it was written by a single person, even if it was put together from components. You've got your font, your representative team colors. If you go back and forth on your team colors, you lose points. Your slide appearance and readability. By the way, do you think some font types are easier to read than others? Yeah.
Team colors.
Okay, like if you're going to have team A be blue, then it should be blue throughout your whole presentation.
Oh, I thought they were assigned or something.
No. No, just these are the colors that you choose to represent the teams. And in fact, you could have team A be blue and team B be red, and they might have vice versa. It doesn't matter. As long as within your presentation for your team, you are consistent. If team B is red, it's red throughout the whole thing. Let's see. Oh, the color contrast between the background and the text. This is another reason I like black and white. Sometimes I'll see where they've got a blue background and gray letters. That is really hard to read because the contrast between those 2 colors is not that great. And freedom from clutter. Oh my goodness. People love to put pictures and GIFs and all sorts of other garbage on their slides. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not going to impress me for damn sure, and when you get out in the industry, I'm pretty sure that your boss is not going to be amused. And I've seen this personally. Some of my colleagues get up there with their little wingdings and whatnot on their slides and really get crap for it. Spelling. Hopefully you guys know about spell check on PowerPoint. Unfortunately, every single time we do this exercise, someone misspells something. So always use the spell check. Grammar, there's no excuse anymore for poor grammar because there's a grammar checker in Microsoft. There's also a Grammarly that you can do for free. And then parallelism. So do you guys know what I mean by parallelism? If you've got 3 things listed, so issuing debt, paying dividends, stock buyback. Does that show parallelism?
You're repurchasing stock.
Yeah, what we want to do is instead of saying stock buyback, we want to say repurchasing stock. And the reason is issuing, paying, repurchasing. That's parallelism. You could have said borrow money, pay dividends, repurchase stock. That would be parallel too. Questions? Okay. Ooh. I will send you the rubric that I'm going to use during your presentation. And so you can see the kinds of things that I'm going to be scoring you on. And one of those things will be eye contact. I hate presentations where people either stare at the screen or they turn their back to the audience and they talk to the screen. I freaking hate that. And I bet you guys do too. But unfortunately, that is what most students do. In fact, that's what most beginning public speakers do. Should you have a script? If you do have a script, you better not use it.
Okay.
Right? This is not supposed to be in your head. You're up here demonstrating your expertise. And if you stand up in front of the 63-year-old CEO with a script, what do you think he's going to think about your knowledge level?
That you don't know it as well as you should.
Yeah, you're not prepared. Have you ever seen me walk in here with a script? Have you even seen me walk in here with notes? No. It's in my head. It needs to be in your head. And even if it may be a little rough on you here, but you'll see also students use index cards. Should you bring index cards in? No. What should be acting as the outline that's driving you to remember what to talk about? The slides. That's it. That's it. So I don't want to see any note cards. I don't want to see any scripts. I have had students before with English as a second language, and they will basically write a script and memorize it phonetically. Do you guys know what phonetically means? When my dad was in the Navy, he went to this bar in Japan, and there was this girl singing this country and western song. And after she got through singing, my dad's like, wow, that was really great. So he walks up to her, he says, you did such a great job on the song. And she looked at him very strangely. She couldn't speak English. She had just remembered the kind of like I can sing Hava Nagila, but I can't tell you what it means, right? And you'll see people do that. Now, how do I know when people are doing that? First question I ask them, the wheels just come off. So don't try to memorize your script. Have it in your head. Do you think it's important to practice presentations? Yeah, I was at a conference one time with my dissertation advisor, and I said, okay, well, I've got to go practice for my presentation. I was presenting a paper. He said, you don't need to practice. You always do a great job. Do you know what my response was to him?
You do a great job because you practice.
I do a great job because I practice. I always, if it's a new presentation, I do it 2 or 3 times before I stand up in front of other people. And the other thing that I figure out is as I'm telling my story in the presentation, I may need to reorder some things so that things flow. And strangely sometimes, because what I'm doing is presenting on papers, I will actually go back and reorder the paper after I presented it, because after I presented it, figured out a better flow order, then I go back and rewrite the paper. But you guys don't have to worry about that because, of course, there's no paper in this class. Are you guys upset that there was no paper? No, me neither. I don't have to read this. Okay. Any questions more about the presentations? Okay. So now we are on to the exam 3 review. Hopefully you guys worked through the calculations. Did you have any questions? I've got the numbers written up here. Tell me the ones you want to see me work out. Any?
6.
6?
And it, when I submitted this one, it didn't let me go back and see which ones I got right or wrong.
Does that
And
happen
on
with the rest of
past,
them too?
the past ones, I was able to go look and see which ones I got.
Okay, well, I'll take a look at that after we get out of here. Then you can, of course, you can do it over and over again, right?
I think so.
Yeah. If you can't, that's another thing I'll be looking at after class. Number 6, what else?
4. 4? Or no, sorry, 10. I don't know why I was looking at Q4, but it's 10.
Other questions? Anything else? So no one had any trouble with number 20. It's a good plan. And by the way, number 20 include, basically you have to do 19 before you can do 20. The numbers are the same for 19 and 20. When you see those questions on the exam, do you think the numbers will be the same? Yeah, because each question is independently chosen from a bank of 4 or more. And so the chances of you getting the same numbers for both of those on the exam, near zero. So you won't be able to just reuse that EOQ like you did here between 19 and 20. Hopefully you recognize that the numbers were the same. Anything else? Mr. Volker, anything?
No.
You good to go? Mr. Rowland?
Good.
Mr. Wall? Mr. Buell? Okay, let's go. It's number 6. If a firm has inventory turns of 4 and receivable turns of 6 and payables turns of 12, what is the firm's cash cycle? Well, we know that the cash cycle is equal to the operating cycle minus the accounts payable period. Have I lost anybody so far? And we know that the operating cycle is equal to the inventory period plus the accounts receivable period. But we're still good. And so that means that the operating cycle, I can do some, cash cycle. The cash cycle is equal to, we're going to substitute in here for our operating cycle, it's the inventory period plus the AR period minus the accounts payable period. So how do we figure these out? How do we use inventory turns to figure out the inventory period? What's the formula? So inventory turns are how many times a year the inventory is turning. How many days are there in a year?
365.
365. And it's turning 4 times a year. So that's, inventory period is going to be 365 over 4. Okay, how are we going to do the accounts receivable period?
365 divided by 12.
What are the receivables turns?
6.
6, so it's going to be divided by 6.
Oh, yeah.
Minus, what is the accounts payable period?
12.
Yeah, so it's going to be, we're going to have 365 over 12 here. So here's what I would tell you to do in your calculator. I would solve this one and store it in 1, solve this one, store it in 2, and solve this one and store it in 3. And then I would say recall 1 plus recall 2 minus recall 3. Just for fun here, I'm going to go ahead and let's call this, 91 days-ish. And this one is 61 days-ish. And this one is 31 days-ish. So we should be coming up with something around 121 as our number. Did I do that wrong? Oh, well. So apparently, the one that I'm looking at is different than what you've got here. Okay, so which one of these is supposedly correct? That one? 127? Oh no, subtract. Should be, well, that should be around 121. Okay, I'm gonna have to get my calculator out.
I got 121.6.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so it is really close to what I was calling out there.
Yeah.
So if you got that answer, which one would you choose?
127.
Yeah, 127.67. Okay, so there's number 6. Were you impressed that I was able to get that close without a calculator? That's the power of Generation X, raised without calculators. Now we're moving on to number 10. The firm has the following cash inflows. The same firm has the following cash outflows. For which quarter will the firm need to arrange short-term borrowing if they begin the year with 10 in cash? Okay, so the way I want us to do this, I want to start with beginning cash. Then I want to do my inflows. Then I want to subtract my outflow. And then I want to calculate ending cash. So we've got quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. And they're telling us it's 160, these are the inflows. 16, oh, sorry, that's not right. It's going to be 160, 180, 160, and 170. And they tell us that the outflows are 150, 140, 210, and then 175. Our beginning cash, they tell us, is 10. So let's work through this now. We've got our beginning cash and plus our inflow gives us 170. And then we've got an outflow of 150. What does that mean for our ending cash? 20. Now, what should I do with that number? Where does it go? Yeah, it goes to the top up here, and that's your new beginning cash. So we've got 20 plus 180 is 200, minus 140 is how much? 60. $60 plus 160 is how much? 220. Minus 210 is how much? 10. So 10 is our ending here. And we've got 180 minus 175, how much? 5.
So that's what I did.
So the answer's not even there, is it?
Right.
I am glad you asked. So, by the way, would I do that to you on an exam? No. And if I did, you just tell me and I go back and give you the points. Because this was actually quite wrong. That's cruel.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was supposed to, like, if there's a threshold that got left off, like they need to borrow at under a certain level, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah, well, we could say this. What if you need to maintain a minimum of 20 due to bond covenants?
Right.
Then you'd say, well, I'm okay here, but I'm going to have to do some borrowing here, and the same thing here. Questions? I'm glad you asked that one. Okay. Number 17. Oh, one more presentation tip. Always be sure to project. Speak clearly and loudly and enunciate. I've had people get up here before and they're like, and you can't even tell what the hell they're saying. Okay, question 17 says, a firm has credit terms 410 net 60. 50% of customers take the discount, the rest pay on day 60. The firm has 12 million in annual sales. What's the firm's average accounts receivable? So the first thing we're going to do, so by the way, average AR, one of the ways we can figure it out is by days sales outstanding multiplied by the average daily credit sales. Now, what are you supposed to assume about sales unless I tell you otherwise?
Their credit.
Yeah, they're all on credit. What are some other names for days sales outstanding?
Accounts receivable.
So it's days sales and receivables, or also ACP. What does ACP stand for?
Average collection period.
Average collection period. So first thing we're going to do is figure out the DSO. How many days sales outstanding? Well, they tell us that 50% of the customers take the discount. On what day would a rational customer take the discount? 10. So we're going to say 50% multiplied by 10 plus the other half are paying on what day?
60.
60. So half of 10 is 5, half of 60 is 30, so I think this is 35. Does that sound right? Okay, now, the next thing we need to figure out is the average daily credit sales. We're going to start with the total amount of annual sales, $12 million. And then I'm going to divide by the number of days in the year. By the way, this is annual sales. We're going to divide by the number of days in the year. How many days are there in a year?
365.
365. Can someone tell me what 12 million divided by 365 is?
$32,876.71.
Okay, and then all we have to do is substitute in now. We're going to take that number we just got, put it up here. We're going to take this number, put it up here. So just go ahead and take that number in your calculator and multiply by 35.
So I've got 1,150,684.
Anybody else get something different?
1,150,684.
So given these answers, which one of these answers would you select? Yeah, the top one. I'm definitely adding this to another one of my things I need to fix for the class because the actual number should be there. Okay, the final one is number 20. A raw material has a cost of $20 per ton. Annual demand is 2 million tons. Each time a firm places an order, it costs them $750 extra. The annual carrying cost is 30% of the raw material cost. How many orders should the firm place per year? Can we go directly to the number of orders per year? Can we calculate it directly? What do we have to calculate first?
The economic order quantity.
Yep, the economic order quantity, or EOQ. EOQ is equal to square root of 2 ds over c. Does that look right? D is demand, annual demand, in tons, or whatever the unit is. It could be cars, it could be bullets, who knows? S is our order cost. And it's going to be in dollars. And C is going to be our carrying cost. And it's going to be in dollars per ton, or whatever the unit is. Dollars per whatever the unit is. And so these units are going to cancel out. And that's why you don't, so it could be cars, bullets, whatever, because they're going to be here and here both, and they're going to cancel out. So here we are told that the annual demand is how much?
2 million tons.
2 million tons. And we're told that every time we place an order, how much does it cost us?
$750.
$750. And the final thing they tell us is that it's 30%, the annual carrying cost is 30% of the raw material cost. How much is the raw material cost?
$20 a ton.
$20 a ton. What is 30% of $20 per ton?
6.
Yep, so it's $6 per ton. And so now we can actually do a little math before we get started here. 2 over 6 is the same as 1/3, is that correct? What's 1/3 of 750?
250.
250. So we're going to take 250 by 2 million. I think that's what, 500 million? And then we just take the square root of it. So I want you to do it your way and then the way that I suggested. Make sure you get the same number. What's the square root of, well, what are you getting for this?
I have 22,360,
Is that what everyone else is getting?
some change.
22,360. Okay, now, how am I going to figure out how many orders per year I need to place?
The annual demand divided by the EOQ.
Yep. We get demand divided by EOQ. The demand is 2 million. Divide by 22,360. What does that come out to?
80.4.
Say that one more time.
89.4.
89.4. Okay. Let's ask this question. Can I do 0.4 of an order? No. So what's the real answer? 90. And by the way, this is 89.4. You might be tempted to say, well, wait a minute. Doesn't that round down to 89? If you do 89 orders, are you going to get 2 million tons? No, you're going to be short. And your customers are going to be mad. Questions? Okay. I've got one more thing to add to my list of things to clean up for this class. By the way, this is the first time that I've done the exam practice calculations for this class. That's why they're a little janky, but I will get them fixed. Yes, sir. Oh, I thought you raised your hand. Okay. Other questions? Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Did you guys have any questions about anything remaining in the class? You're all good to go? Okay, well, have a good time. I will see you on a week from, actually 2 weeks from today, right? Because we've got the whole week of Thanksgiving off. So 2 weeks from today, we'll be doing presentations. What do you need to bring with you?
We're doing them on
Or-
Tuesday.
Yeah,
I need to bring the copy of the PowerPoint slides.
yeah,
1 page per slide.
black and
Front-
white.
Yeah, not front and back.
Yeah, single-sided. And what should you be wearing?
Suit tie.
Suit and tie. Should you have note cards or a script?
No.
Nope.
As far as the slides go, there's only one person in the group need to bring them.
Yes, this is something I mentioned beforehand, though, is if typically people give the role of bringing the slides to the biggest loser on the team, because after all, he or she has not been pulling their weight. And what do you think that leads to?
Not having the slides.
Not having the slides, so don't do that. If I were you guys, I would each and every one of you print out the slides and have them in my pocket, just in case, and in my bag, just in case everything went horribly wrong. Questions?